Is she to be buried in Christian burial that wilfully seeks her own salvation?
I tell thee that she is, and therefore make her grave straight. The crowner half set on her and finds its Christian burial.
How can that be unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be Siafendo. It cannot be else. For here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act. And an act hath three branches. It is to act, to do, to perform, or she drowned herself wittingly.
Nay, but hear you, good man Delver.
Give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. If the man go to this water and drown himself, it is, will he, nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water comes to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argo, that is not guilty of his own death, and shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Ay, Mary, it's Crowner's quest law.
Well, you have the truth on it. If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out of Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest, and the more pity that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves, more than they're even Christian. Come, my spade, there is no ancient gentleman but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
He was the first that ever bore arms.
Why, he had none.
What, art a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answers me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter?
The gallows marker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit well, in good faith. The gallows does well. But how does it well? It does well to those that do in. Now thou dost ill say the gallows is built stronger than the church. Argo, the gallows may do well to thee. To it come, again.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that and unyoke.
Mary, now I can tell.
To it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your Delas will not mend his pace with beating. And when you are asked this question next, say grave maker. The houses that he makes to last till doomsday. Go get thee Yugen and fetch me a stoup of liquor.
Whose grave is this, sir?
Mine, sir.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on, sir, and therefore it is not yours. For my part, I do not lie in, and yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in't, to be in't and say 'tis thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away gain from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman then?
For none neither.
Who is to be buried in't?
One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute this knave is! We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, these 3 years I have taken a note of it. The age is grown so picked that of the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courier, he gaffs his cab. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days in the year, I came to it the day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is that since?
Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell it. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He's mad and sent into England.
Ay, Mary, why was he sent into England?
Why, because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there, or if he do not, it's no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, even with losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man lie i' the earth ere he rot?
In faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we have many puffy corpses nowadays, that will scarce hold the laying in. He will last you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year.
Why he more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that he will keep out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your horse and dead body. Here's a skull now. This skull has lain in the earth 23 years.
Whose was it?
A horse and medfellow's it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue, who poured a flagon of varnish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
This?
E'en that.
Alas, poor Yorick! I knew him, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath bore me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is! My gore rims at it. Here hung those lips I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning? Quite chapfallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick, to this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked o' this fashion i' the earth,
E'en so.
and smelt so? Pah!
E'en so, my lord.
To what base uses we may return! Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander, till he find it stopping a bunghole?
Twere to consider too curiously to consider so.
No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither with modesty enough, and likelihood to lead it, as thus. Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth to the dust. The dust is earth, of earth we make loam. And why of that loam, whereto he converted, might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth, which keeps the world in awe, should patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw. But soft, soft, here comes the king.